Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the North Brantford Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting for Thursday, October 7th. In attendance are regular members. You gotta flip that over. Your name, your last name.
Oh, there we go.
I'm drawing a blank on
Guess I
all of this.
forget. Here.
There we go. Noe, Sienna, Mason, Dulac. Sorry about that. Drawing a blank. Our first order of business is the review and approval of minutes from September 16th.
I have a correction.
Sure.
Okay, page 2, third line, members discuss sidewalks for the property and whether sidewalks would be beneficial and should there be no other sidewalks to connect to. We discussed also the sidewalks on the other side of the property on Middletown Avenue that would in fact connect to a crosswalk connecting to the sidewalks for the school.
I think in that it meant the sidewalks wouldn't connect to any existing sidewalks.
So semantics is,
Okay.
I didn't know, the way I
Okay.
read it was that the crosswalk would be considered a destination to cross the Middletown Avenue. I agree with you, there's
Yeah.
nothing on the other side.
Well, then just make a motion to amend how you want it to read.
It has to be a motion?
Yeah, to amend, you have to amend it.
Okay, make a motion to amend the minutes for more detail on the sidewalks. Do we need a second?
Well, no, we need to amend it, what it should say, actually say.
You want it to say to insert the crosswalk on Middletown Avenue with respect to sidewalk?
Connection to the sidewalks.
How about members discuss sidewalks and, what's it called, and crosswalks for this property? So it's in there.
Yes,
Okay.
that works.
All right. Is there a second on that?
Second.
All in favor of amending that?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Any others? If not, if somebody would like to motion to approve the meetings as amended?
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from September 16th, 2021 as amended.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? See, that passes 4-0. All right, our next order of business is the town of North Brantford, the planning and zoning, our town attorney. Victor, will you be joining us?
I don't
Think so?
think I
Okay, all right.
should or would unless you
Okay,
need me to.
no, just wanted to make sure. We'll be going into executive session, but I would need to make could somebody make a motion on that, please?
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session, including the board and the town attorney.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're gonna adjourn to go into executive session. When we're complete, we'll come back out. Thank you. All right, let me.
I've seen Wendy a little,
Okay.
before COVID, I saw her up on Thursday nights especially, I saw her there at the time.
Okay, we'll get out before 11 tonight?
Yep.
Yeah.
You wanna make a
When
motion?
they're older, they have to go travel.
Make a motion to come back in the regular session?
I make a motion to come back from the break and into regular session.
All right, thank you, everybody. So we're gonna be doing, you have the public hearing?
Yes.
We,
Second that, I'm sorry.
Second?
Okay, thank you.
all in favor?
Hold on.
Aye. Okay.
Oh.
Redo.
Okay, sorry about that.
Go.
All right, so our,
Yeah, I think I have to make a
what we're
motion.
gonna, the next order of business is a number of public hearings. So, Trish, if you wanna read
Yep.
that?
So this is the legal notice of the North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission. Notice is hereby given that the North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission will hold an in-person public hearing at 6:30 PM or soon thereafter on Thursday, October 7th, 2021, at the North Branford Town Hall, Council Chambers, 909 Foxton Road, North Branford, Connecticut, to consider the following. A, application 2021-15, Planning and Zoning Commission proposed zoning regulations, text amendment to 23.2.7, temporary and limited moratorium regarding cannabis establishments, medical marijuana producers, dispensary facilities, and/or retail/distribution. B, Town of North Branford proposed opt-out of 1, the requirements regarding limitations on parking spaces for dwelling units as otherwise required per Connecticut General Statutes 8-2 D9, as amended per State of Connecticut Public Act Number 21 through 29 pursuant to the opt-out provision in Section 5 Public Act Number 21 through 29. And 2, the requirements regarding accessory apartments as otherwise required per Section 6 of State of Connecticut Public Act Number 21-29 pursuant to the opt-out provision in the subsection F of Section 6 of Public Act Number 21-29. At this hearing, all interested persons may appear and be heard, and written communications will be received. Copies of proposals are on file for public inspection in the Town Hall Planning and Zoning Department. A copy of the application is also available on the town's website for public inspection.
See, for these public hearings, our regular members, Noe, Sienna, Mason, Dulac. The first application 2021-14, the accessory structures. Is that the lighting?
Yes.
So we're gonna have to continue that.
Table that, yes.
Because, the text edits that we were expecting are not here.
Okay.
So can somebody make a motion to continue that to our next meeting, which would be,
10/21. Did I do that math right?
Yes.
yeah,
All right, I make a motion to table the public hearing for application 2021-14 to our next regular meeting on October 21st, 2021.
okay. Is there a second?
I second that.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Oh,
I have some discussion. So, in the text amendment from the last meeting, it was just about town property, right? The lighting was specifically for municipal property in the text amendment. The state law that just passed October 1st, there's a section in there, let me quote it, section, 2921, section D, letter E, section E, right? And it refers to any city or town or borough which adopts the provisions of this chapter may, by vote of the legislative body, exempt municipal property from regulations prescribed by the zoning commission of such city or town and borough, but unless it is so voted, municipal property shall be subject to such regulation.
right.
So it appears that they have to vote on making a motion to change our regulations? Is that how am I interpreting that?
Well, that's why Vinnie, the town attorney, is gonna take all that in consideration and change the text.
Okay.
So that's why we don't have it. So, I mean, what we had previously, let's forget about that until we see the new text, because it's gonna be more specific. And he did mention at the last meeting that they could do that, but they prefer not to. So he's looking into the best way to do it for that, for this, for what the town's looking for.
Okay.
So he'll, I think next week, he's gonna be working, or Victor's gonna talk to him about that. Any other discussion?
Nope. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, that passes 4-0. That be continued to our next meeting. The next application was 2021, which is a continuation. Oh, okay. Yep, a continuation from, let's see, it's the zoning map boundary change in the zoning regulation text amendment. That's 2021-12. There was,
If,
a,
so I just handed out, if I could just jump in there before you
Yep.
get too far into it, and then you guys can decide how you want to move forward, but I just handed out a letter from the people in opposition, their attorney that's representing them, Timothy Lee.
yep,
Letter that was received today, October 7th. The applicant's engineer sent that letter over to us and asked that we table application 2021-12 for tonight's meeting in light of that new letter that they received today. If the applicant needs to request an extension, the applicant's engineer has offered up that the applicant has given his consent to that extension if necessary. So they're asking to continue to table it, and they're granting an extension.
what was the
To
reason
the
for that?
timeline.
Why would they, this is the,
They want some time to absorb the information in the letter by Timothy Lee, and
Gotcha.
they're considering maybe having their client bring their attorney with them.
okay,
So
okay. So we would need a motion to continue
I am
this?
the motion queen tonight.
Yes, you
Wait a
are.
minute, where's my tiara? I make a motion so this one application has both of those thing
Just-
offers in it?
just-
Okay.
Yeah, just 2021
Okay.
12, yep.
I make a motion to table and continue the public hearing for application 2021-12 to our next regular meeting on October 21st, 2021.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion?
does that motion also need to include the timeline extension? So leading up, I did a little bit of math for you, and I'm not sure the timeline before an extension is required, but the public hearing was opened September 16th. Next meeting is
Yep.
October 21st, that's 35 days. I don't know if we're in the 30-something range or 60-something range before we need to.
I
Well,
think it's,
October 21st is the 35th day.
Yes.
yeah.
You might close on,
Yeah, and if not, we would need
So
it,
request
if
the
not, we would
extension
need an
that
way.
extension
Okay.
after
If not,
that
yeah,
one.
we would need
It's
an
45, I think it is, right?
I just don't know
I
what
think
the,
it's 35.
Wait, what was the date it was submitted?
9/16, and then that to 10/21 is,
Yeah, yeah.
Is it business
35
days or
days.
is it non-business days? Yeah, I don't know, that sounds, want me to count again, or I have
go
complete faith
for it,
in you?
yeah. 7 times
just-
5.
30 days have September.
Go for it. I'd love to have,
1, 2, 3.
and we can blame you and not me.
Why don't we do, just for the sake of safety, just amend
No, I
it and
agree.
say
7
with,
times 5 is 35.
with the applicant's,
I think that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, instead of 300 days, just amend your motion to say with the applicant's extension, time extension if necessary. And then we're covered.
I could make a motion to amend my motion, or just redo my motion?
You can redo it. No, you have to amend it.
I have to amend it.
we voted
Yeah.
Where's my dad when
Yeah.
I need him with Robert's rules? I make a motion to amend my motion to include, an extension for the applicant if necessary.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none, it passes 4-0. We're moving a little bit faster than I thought, but there's always that roadblock.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
With extension.
For medical marijuana.
Yes. So, application 2021-15, it's a zoning regulation text amendment. It's for a moratorium, a temporary and limited moratorium. And we would have that for up to a year, correct, Victor?
Yes.
Okay,
Have a draft motion
okay.
to consider, and I can open up my
Did the,
file. There was a bit of a description of that, everything that's going on with that.
I
Vic-
mean,
Victor, let me ask you a question. When did the moratorium ended, what,
2nd of October, I believe.
right? It was the beginning of this month? Roughly?
I don't.
Okay, all right. But this is this the last moratorium we can have? I believe, I think there's only so many you can have moratoriums, I don't think you can continue them forever. Right, I think you only have 2 moratoriums on the same subject.
This is for cannabis?
Yeah, we've already had one. I think,
So
Yeah,
I've
We've
got,
had a few moratoriums on it.
well, no, okay, go ahead.
maybe, will that help back there? The amendment to that existing section notes from October 21st, that might be the last
Okay.
day, or,
Yeah.
I did not do this, so just going off of,
Did Vin draft this?
not sure who did, whether it was the previous town planner or the town attorney.
Well, I think, I moved to approve effective date, yeah, so see, the only thing I'm saying is he's got the effective date, the 21st in there, but on the motion it has the 22nd. So I'm gonna assume that, well, I mean, on the draft, I just wanna make sure that we would use the 21st, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what he has.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this will,
Is this the public hearing?
well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I just wanna get everything, okay. Is there anything you wanna put around it? Or, I mean, that's pretty, it says for itself, it speaks for itself.
That's
So,
quite
No, but
detailed.
we can add that the notice went out to adjacent, or I can add, the notice went out to the adjacent municipalities, being the town of Brantford, East Haven, North Haven, Wallingford, Guilford, and Durham, and we heard no response from any of those folks. I also had, hold on, the River Cog was sent out a response to our request, and we received a letter back from them dated September 2nd, 2021, from J.H. Torrance Downs, representing, as a deputy director of the River Cog, representing their regional planning committee. And under the impact sections of that letter, it says, following review of the petition, staff of the RPC has determined that the adoption of the proposed temporary and limited moratorium will not have any adverse intermunicipal impact on the adjacent River Cog municipality of Durham, and offers, if you have any questions there. So those are the only 2 correspondence that I have on that project.
Okay. Anybody have any questions before I open up to the public?
No, it seems quite thorough.
This is a public hearing. If anybody would like to speak on the application 2021-15 on the temporary and limited moratorium, feel free. Since there's no one who wants to speak on it, and if you feel comfortable to close the public hearing, somebody wants to make a motion?
I make a motion to close the public hearing for application 2021-15.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Abstentions? No, don't do that.
Oh. I answered it.
It passes 4-0. For to be closed. Victor, I just wanna, we're gonna, have to amend the agenda, because what we'll do is we usually vote on them under new business.
Okay.
All right, so I just wanna let you know on that, for now, just don't forget that, we have to add that in then. Or I'll circle it, so then we'd have to amend the agenda if we get to new business.
Yep.
And we'll do that later after some of the other ones. The next one, Town of North Branford, let me just see what that, Town of North Branford proposed opt-out, for parking spaces for dwelling units, and the requirements regarding accessory apartments. Trish, did you? That was a public hearing. Okay.
I don't have anything except for what's on the motion for that. Want me to hand that out? But
Yeah, so we could just take a look at it. Well, we had it in our packet, right?
Right.
Is it the same thing? Okay.
Maybe not.
Thank you.
Draft.
So this opt-out, we feel that our regulations make sense for town of Brantford in both cases, both the parking and for the accessory dwelling. And if that's the case, then we would opt out.
Correct.
We make a motion to opt out. So, is there, this is a public
I was
hearing,
just saying
so I
it's a
will
public
be asking members of the public, but is there any comments that you would have before we start? Anything that you would like to add for discussion? Now, just to give you a little, I'm not sure who was on the commission at the time, but we opted out also of an accessory dwellings from the state where you could put a small temporary
Yeah.
structure
Mhm.
on your property.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to bring that up, that we opted out of that as
Mhm.
well. So like if you had somebody, it couldn't be connected, so if you had somebody that, you know, if you wanted to live on your property, you could do this. I think it was for medical only reasons.
Mhm.
But our accessory dwelling allows you to add on to the house,
Yeah,
you know,
it was redundant.
and I think our regulations worked.
Yep.
We've actually changed it at least once to increase the size and more, you know, more than just one parent, maybe sometimes it's, you know, both parents or whatever. Basically expanded that, I believe, a couple of years ago, maybe
Yep.
if not 3, because a lot of those were, there was, I don't want to say a number of them, but it was going to the zoning board of
All
appeals
the time, yeah.
to get a waiver to get an extra 100 square feet. And so we
Mhm.
said, why are we gonna waste all this time for over 100 or 200 square feet or 400 square feet, whatever it was?
Mhm.
So I just wanted to give a little background on that. This is a public hearing, so if anybody would like to speak on that?
No takers again.
So, is there, I'm just gonna get a consensus here we think that, I mean, opting out, is there any reasons that you would see to not opt out? I want to have that discussion here as well, before we close it down, public hearing.
Nope.
All right.
What is just a quick question, and is there any negative effect by us opting out?
Not that I read.
I didn't see anything either, that's,
No.
just
I
wondering if
think-
I missed anything.
I mean, I'll give you my opinion of why. The state has been trying to be more involved, and it seems by some of the discussions they've been having, more involved in towns, cities, communities. I think this is their way of starting that process, is saying, well, here's some stuff that we think, you know, this might be, some of this regulation might be, some towns or cities or whatever might opt in. But we have good regulations when it comes to that.
Yes, I agree.
So I think the state just wants to make sure that everybody has either a good regulation or opts in. That's just my,
There's no funding coming our way for adopting or not adopting?
not that I know of. The state funds the town, really?
I don't know where my mind went with
Come on,
that
Ron.
one.
If there's nothing else, if somebody wants to make a motion to close this public hearing, unless there's anything else?
Nope,
Okay.
I'm good.
Yep.
Make a motion to close the public hearing of the opt-out for parking spaces for dwelling units and accessory apartments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none, that passes 4-0. All right.
Oh, so then this is gonna go on our new business?
Yeah, that's another one, yeah. Okay, now we're going to new business. So, Victor, on the new business application 2021-6, the 50-foot lights, we can't do anything with that.
Right, until the text
All right,
amendment is.
but we don't need a motion to do that, so we just cross that one off, okay? Okay.
Is that continued, I'm sorry?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Application 2021-6 will be continued to our next meeting, which is October 21st. Next, new business, application 2021-13. What's that for? Relocation of existing driveway.
So we're gonna ask that we continue that to 10/21 also?
You make me look bad. I
Dang,
told the applicant that it's gonna be all night, and you might not
I
wanna
know,
stick
I
around. We're
know.
gonna be out of here in record time.
Well, I guess.
This wasn't my fault, it was Victor's fault. I just want you to know.
Everybody backs out last minute.
Yeah.
So we're working on potentially with the Director of Public Works to come up with a little bit different scenario on how that access might work in lieu of the police station not being across the street. We're kind of still on hold waiting to see where the proposed police station might end up, where
Okay.
their location might be.
Okay, so application 2021-13 will be continued to the next meeting, October 21st. Application 2012, 13-A, site plan modification for Rosa Bianca Vineyards, which was in your.
That one we're doing.
Right.
Oh, I thought you were
Oh,
continuing that.
I know, don't scare us like that.
We're
Don't
doing
te-
that
Don't
one.
tease us like that. So that was in our, do we have an applicant here? Oh, okay, all right. If you could come up to the mic, name, company that you represent, and, you wanna give us an overview?
Sure.
I don't know if we have an easel.
That's all right, I can just hold them up.
Victor, do we have it up on the
Yes,
screen?
I have some.
Okay.
I'll follow along with you, hopefully see how successful.
Yeah, they're all I brought was one rendering of the building and then the main site plan. It's like the third page in.
On the actual site plan. yeah.
Correct, yeah, I think it's page 3. But I can prop it up for you guys to see as well. Go, yeah, oh,
This
back one.
Grading?
Yep. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Bellman, partner in DJB Building and Construction out of Glastonbury. I'm actually working as a GC and an owner's rep for Charlie Rosabianca, who's the owner of Rosabianca Vineyards. So we have the proposed winery expansion at Charlie's already operating business location on 1536 Middletown Ave. This is just a rendering from the south. I don't know how many of you are familiar with these plans or not. But this is just a quick rendering from the south view, showing you kind of an idea of what the building is. But I took the opportunity to go over a lot of the comments and the recommendations that you guys sent back to us that I just recently got yesterday, actually. But the majority of which I've already been in touch with the site engineer at Giuliano's, and they're already working on a lot of the stuff. A lot of it was bullet point stuff as far as like labeling and just pointing out some details and stuff like that. But I wanted to hear from you guys if you had any questions or anything like that I could touch on, or if you want me to just go down the list of things that I got back from you guys.
Well, let's go over the main points so everybody knows. The first thing is the building's being shifted, this, over here?
Yep.
Okay, that's being shifted 200 feet. Is it going left?
It's going from the left to the right towards the
Okay, all right,
northeast.
I got you there.
So actually, if it's of any aid, the previously approved plans had the building proposed over on this portion of the property with the driveway hooking in
Yep.
as such, and then the current site modification plan shows the driveway coming in this way, more to the northeast side of the property, and the building, again, was shifted.
Yep.
We have an approximate 200 or so feet.
Why is it being shifted?
Well, we had the opportunity over the last X amount of years from when these original plans were submitted to do some test pits and stuff like that, and there's just a ton of rock in the original area that was proposed at like sub 8 feet, and Charlie is really looking for a basement throughout
Okay.
the property or throughout the building, underneath the building for winemaking and stuff like that. So shifting it over gets us out of the ledge a little bit, and we also brought the building up like 4 feet.
And what's the building gonna be used for?
It's going to be for winemaking in the basement and storage, and then tasting rooms upstairs.
Okay.
That's the building now, right, down here?
Down on the left, correct.
And what will that be, I mean, what will that be used for in the future? Same as it is now?
Well, tasting will be moved away from that building up to the new building, and that will just be storage,
Okay.
and you can never have enough storage.
Yeah, so there was you had some,
Right,
Yeah,
so-
yeah,
so
quite a few points and stuff. I mean, the first few points on the list, do you want me to just go down it, Victor, or however you
yeah,
want me to handle this?
you could if
I mean,
you
the
want.
first few points on the list, we're just correcting the address, providing some labels and details for the dumpster pad locations and stuff like that.
Just so we know, is that, I was guessing that would be the dumpster pad? or-
That's correct,
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah, the smaller box down below that is where the transformer's gonna be.
Right there,
Correct.
yeah?
So your fourth point here, as far as wall packs and exterior lighting, putting shields on those and having those designed is no problem. I've done that quite a few times. Actually with those same exact wall packs.
Right, so the lighting specifications, I do my best to weed through everything and try to find at least something that says, full cutoff, something that matches our regulations. And on these, I couldn't quite find it, but they look like they might be that style already. That was the wall mount that they proposed, and there is the post style that they proposed with, let's see if there's another, with that style.
And if the top of that doesn't provide enough downlight, we can certainly figure out something that will, to avoid shedding light outside of the photometric zone. But for wall packs and stuff, we've easily been able to modify housings for shields and stuff like that.
And they're, not to steal your thunder there, but their photometrics plan, I don't know if that's exactly what they call it, but the comment there that he has says that the photometrics plan seems to satisfy the regulations.
Okay, good.
And so I know that that's hard to look at, but we're approaching 0 lumens on all the property lines, and the direction of light is shining in, towards the direction of the proposed use of the building. And then along the driveway, we have lights shining in the direction of the driveway.
Actually, while you have that, Victor, because
Yeah.
you can see the guardrails in there too, that was one point that was brought up. We haven't, we've been going back and forth about what we want to use for permanent guardrails. There obviously will be guardrails up along that whole driveway because it's exposed edge. So that's just something I wanted to touch upon as well. It
Yeah,
hasn't
we
been
can-
defined
yeah.
at this time, but I know it was a point that was brought up as far as like materials for that.
Mhm.
the guardrail's part of it, so when will you know what you're gonna be doing with them?
I'm actually just waiting. I forwarded all of these questions and comments to the engineer, and they're gonna be designing that. They said by middle of next week, they'll have all of these bullet points touched.
So, so we should wait till next meeting to get the updated plans and everything? I mean,
I don't know.
that's usually the stance, so then because then otherwise you'd have to come back again and change it.
Okay,
So that would be my recommendation.
Agreed.
okay. There is a wall that wraps around the entire perimeter of the driveway going up there at 3 feet. So guardrails are more for aesthetics than anything else, which is why it hasn't been decided upon.
So
there is a mafia block wall running up the entire side of the,
So this retaining wall here you're talking about?
correct.
So am I missing I thought it was upwards of 10 feet of a difference
I'm
in
saying
elevation?
above driveway elevation.
Oh, the wall is that far.
Correct.
So see, those are details that I hadn't seen yet. And that was
Yeah.
one of the requests that I made to kind of, give us more of a detail or cross-section on the retaining wall
Mm-hmm.
itself. And there's 3, if I'm getting it right, there's 3 different retaining walls.
There's the
Proposed
driveway
on
one, there's the horseshoe one where you pull into the loading area.
Right. So the next, that's along the driveway there. There's another one here that is the opposite style. So this is holding up the embankment.
Correct.
Up in this direction here. Would that be the same style?
Mhm.
Is what you're proposing coming up the driveway? And then I was trying to figure out, I mean, it looks like that's
Likewise through there.
a retaining wall there. So more for the commission from a planning perspective. I don't usually weigh in on and it was one of the comments on the style wall that you might be looking for. the texture of the face of the wall and the color of the wall. It's just something that I throw out there if it's something that you consider, or if you just let the applicant pick it. So it's just something that you might want to talk about. I'm not weighing in one way or the other. I'm just
no,
pointing it
I
out.
said it'd be best to wait till next meeting to have a
Okay.
better idea of what it is. I
Okay.
mean, we wanted to, the applicant's gonna have an obviously fit aesthetically to his building and property, so.
Right.
We just like to get his idea, I mean, unless somebody has a comment for him on that.
Yeah, just a comment.
Sure.
That area was at one time a brownstone quarry,
Mm-hmm.
so whatever, there's a lot of brownstone in the area, and I don't know. That's the extent of what I'm saying.
As far as?
As far as it used to be a brownstone quarry.
Yeah.
If you keep up with the brownstone,
Yeah, his
historically, that would be.
Oh, as far as finish schedule and stuff
Yes,
like that?
yes.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of rely on Charlie's input for that kind of stuff, but certainly.
And while I have the microphone in front of me, the proposed winery,
Yep.
to the right of it, on my map, what is that herringbone thing?
Oh, that's just the main entrance area.
This right here?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's just an entry walkway.
yeah, because
Either pavers or stamped concrete.
the patio's on the other side, and
Correct.
that's a lot of area to, not utilize.
As
But if
far-
it's the entry greeting area, that makes sense.
Yeah. There's a, I wish I had the elevation of the property, but there's a covered walkway there as well.
Okay.
So the main changes are the shifting the building
Mm-hmm.
and the driveway.
Correct.
So, even though it looks like we're continuous, is there any issues with, those are the two main things? So the rest of them are the details, but is there any issues with, did you see with moving the 200 feet or the driveway?
Especially allows, for additional space for planting vines, which seems to be important for a winery.
We gained quite a few more parking spaces by moving the driveway this way as well.
Good.
Yeah.
Are you changing the entrance at all, or is that gonna stay as is?
The apron is staying as is, but the entire thing will be paved.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, there's 71 parking spaces, right?
Mhm.
And the entrance just looks a little different from the perspective from the plan versus the access road going up to the winery. It looks like it's a little bit more narrow than a road actually going up to the winery. Have you did the analysis, does that have enough space in there for?
Side-by-side traffic? It
Side by
does.
side, pulling in, pulling out?
Yep. Is there anything else I can answer for anyone?
If not, we're good to continue this to the next meeting, October 21st?
Yes. So, I make a motion to continue application 2012/13-8 to the next regular meeting on October 21st, 2021.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you
All
all.
Let's see this. Can you?
Anybody second that?
I second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Did I skip that? I was moving on. That passes 4-0. Need to amend the
The agenda.
agenda for new business.
5D?
Yeah, 5D and
No.
Add a 5D?
Oh, add a 5D and a
And a
5E. For application 2021 and the opt-out. You're good at that, aren't you?
Listen, I told you I'm the queen tonight on it.
Yeah.
I make a motion to amend the agenda under new business to add an item 5D for the cannabis text amendment and add an item 5E for the opt-out.
Okay. All
Who's
right.
gonna second?
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none, that passes 4-0. The agenda is amended. All right, so under new business, we have the D is the town of North Brantford proposed opt-out, and
I said D is marijuana
I'm sorry.
/ cannabis.
Okay, I'm sorry, yep. So the temporary limited moratorium.
Yep.
All right. So there wasn't much discussion on that.
No.
Do we have a draft motion?
I have it.
Oh, you have one?
You did, yeah.
Okay, very good. Is there any initial discussion on that?
I don't have any discussion relative to the moratorium, but I just want to bring to your attention in our conversation about moving this topic forward with the town. In the new state law 21-1, the municipality electors may petition for a referendum on whether to allow local sale of recreational marijuana. So the town council can actually put a referendum out there if they wanted to.
Yeah, exactly, yep. Yep. They're the only one that could, for anything like that, to prevent, or, I don't want to say prevent, it's not the right word, for not allowing something in town would have to come from town council.
Do we have any position on that, as far as making a motion that we're in favor of a referendum or anything like that, as far as our commission to the town council?
It would be my recommendation that we start having discussions and see if we want to put together a text amendment to allow it, or not. Then, once we go through that, if we, is planning and zoning, let's say, we all say, hey, we don't want to go at, we don't think it should be here in B1, wherever it might be, or in town hall, then we can have a discussion with the town council. But I think it would be, I think the first part would be putting maybe something together, or at least having some public comment on it to see what the public thinks as well.
Okay.
I mean, the town council, I'm not sure of their process, if they could have an open discussion on that, but it could be something where it's a different night, and they can have it at the auditorium and say, let's have a discussion about this, whatever it might be. They've done it before for some other things that we've had, and I can't remember what it was, but there was one a few years back. But, so I think there's a couple avenues that once we do this moratorium, then we can figure out what the approach is, and maybe even contact the town council and get some suggestions from them, or work with them on that.
Great.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
I move to approve with an effective date of October 21st, 2021, the planning and zoning application 2021-15 text amendment about the temporary and limited moratorium.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Since this was a public hearing, you will have to state your reasons why you're voting the way you are. So,
Oh, I
Trish,
can do it first thing.
yeah.
Because it gives us time to digest the law, and, now that it could be retail, and come up with our own regulation.
Whoever, second, Rep.
I did.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm in favor of moving it ahead, so we have better time to analyze and figure out what we want to do with the cannabis sale and production in North Brantford.
Brian?
I basically vote yes for the same reasons that we also have to find out exactly where the state is standing on this and how it affects economic development in North Brantford, if it does, or would it be a hindrance?
And I vote yes for the moratorium. We need to craft some language to see if there's even, if it's something the town wants, and engage with the town council and the public as well, as we put this together. And this moratorium is only for 1 year. And Barbara, if we could find out if we can get another extension. I thought there was, you can only allow 2, but I just want to make sure, so.
Yeah, I will find out.
Okay.
I'd say Vin has really been on top of this
Okay.
particular
Yeah.
issue, and so,
Okay. And I vote yes, so that the moratorium passes 4-0. Okay. The next one, which is 5D, is the town of North Brantford proposed opt-out, which then, if we do opt-out, does go to, Victor, correct, goes to town council?
I
I believe that's the case,
Yeah.
when I was reading through it.
Opt-out procedure.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, I knew I saw it somewhere.
PZC affirmatively votes. Step 3, PZC publishes a notice of decision to go out within no later than 15 days after the date of decision. Step 4, PZC transmits a copy of the affirmative opt-out resolution to the town council. Step 5, you want to go into that? Town council considers and also affirmatively votes, requiring a 2/3 vote to opt out. And step 6, town council transmits a copy of the affirmative opt-out resolution to the planning and zoning commission.
All right. So is there any discussion on any of the opt-outs?
No.
Would somebody like to make a motion?
Sure. Somebody. I move to opt out of Public Act 21-29, parking spaces for dwelling units and accessory apartments.
You do both of them, parking and.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay.
I might-
Yeah.
Sorry.
Is there a second?
Is this related to that?
Well, if
Yeah.
you so choose.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ron seconded. So let's just have some discussion on that, if we need to. Anyway, I think our regulations are fit.
Pretty fair,
what we-
yeah.
Fit for what we, for North Brantford and fair. We've changed them, we've changed parking, we've changed accessory dwelling footage as we've done in the past, so I'm not sure if there's anything else to add in there, or if you'd like to add, or any other discussions we need to have.
No, I think our last meeting, Trish kind of hit on the head when they were proposing so many parking spaces, and there's never enough parking at apartments, so I think that kind of answers our question.
All right, this was a public hearing, so it would be a roll call vote, and you have to also state your reasons, so Trish, you can go
I vote
first.
yes, because our existing parking standards, they're not onerous or preventative of producing accessory apartments, and they're reflective of our suburban land use pattern.
Ron?
I vote yes also. I also believe that the rules and regulations we have for parking are adequate.
I vote yes as well. I think our town regs are more than adequate as well.
And I vote yes for the same reasons as the other commission members have voted on, so that passes 4-0. What are you passing stuff down? Jeez. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw it out. Okay.
Figure it goes back.
Old business. All right, this was a public hearing. The public hearing was closed. This is application 2021-8. Oh.
See, I gave them to you because I figured you would need them. Ha-ha.
They're right here in this pile here.
I just want one, please.
Do you have a draft?
It's like a lifeline. Hold on.
Yep. So this is application 2021-8, 1355 Middletown Avenue. It was a public hearing. We closed it on our September 16th meeting. So we are now, we're in the deliberation phase of that. So I think there's two parts. I think we should, it would be my recommendation to break this discussion into two parts. One, there's been a discussion on sidewalks, which we need to have that. And the overall project itself.
Mhm.
So I think we should separate those two for now. And not saying that we're not gonna dismiss any of them, but I think we should let's focus on the project itself, and just see if there's any concerns or anything there, and then, I mean, we know the sidewalk's part of that process, but we can have a separate discussion, because we know that's a specific thing that we wanna cover. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, all right. All right, so for the overall project, your thoughts, or the site plan?
Seems solid and thought out, and it fits with what's already going on there, and again, you know, Brantford does need more diverse housing stock. It seems pretty solid.
Yeah, brings another business into town.
Yep.
Any other comments on that? The second, so, I mean, if there's anything that pops up, we can always come back to that. So, we can talk about sidewalks now if you like.
I think going along with economic development and a compromise, you know, thinking and looking at the other sidewalks that we have in town, that, you know, it would be unfair for the applicant to have to put sidewalks all the way around the property. So I think a compromise would be a sidewalk from the new building to the crosswalk, which attaches to the sidewalk across Middletown Avenue, which brings people to the tennis courts, the senior center, the schools, the playgrounds, as opposed to going all the way around.
The sidewalk where?
From the driveway to the crosswalk.
From
there's
the new
maybe-
building that way? Is that what you meant?
Well, there's one already there, Trish, from the building. Yeah, there's a brick walk that there's access to the west of the property line.
Oh, so there's one there?
Yep.
Oh.
If we go further to the upper part of the plan, the driveway exit, right there, and to the right, we'd like to see a sidewalk from the driveway to the crosswalk is like the second W right above landscaping, that would go across, that would tie in there.
Wait, where do you want the sidewalk?
Just right there where the hand is, where the cursor is. Handicap ramp to a handicap ramp, and then it crosses the street and ties into the crosswalk. And the applicant had already informed us that there was an individual in one of the properties that uses the senior center.
So there's no crosswalk over here, though? There's one by the firehouse?
No,
There's one right there.
Oh, there is?
Yes, ma'am.
There's no handicap ramp on the other side, though. The sidewalk on the other side starts like up here.
Right,
It
the
doesn't
corner.
even come to the street.
Right.
So you're going,
Yeah.
you're not even going to a handicap ramp, you're not even going to another sidewalk. You're going to grass. So that's why it just still doesn't fit. There needs to be more holistic approach.
Well, that's kind of like the compromise, Trish.
I'm just one of those, if it's not broke, why fix it? There's nothing broke with what's going on right now.
This is true. But do we want to improve access to town property if it's STW, they're putting lights in to extend the use of those tennis courts or courts?
I don't think the sidewalk's gonna have any impact on who uses the senior center or not if there's not a sidewalk there.
One person who crosses there, one lady, shouldn't dictate, again, such a undertaking from the applicant.
Yeah, if you build it, they will come. I mean, you have to start somewhere, and it's, that whole intersection area is chaotic. And if we're gonna utilize the senior center, the tennis courts, the playgrounds, and we're having additional apartments, that the playground is tight. So you know the children, the parents will be going to the playground or if they're senior citizens, to the senior citizen center. So I think it's needed.
I still stand by, I don't wanna encourage people to cross here when nobody,
There's a crosswalk there already.
but it's not painted well, you don't have
It's
the
painted-
lights up,
Do-
and
it's-
people aren't expected there,
The sidewalk doesn't go all the way down to the road.
yeah.
It doesn't go down all the way. to
And
the
you're
road.
gonna encourage people to cross at an unsafe point, it's not a properly updated crosswalk. Yeah, there's a new law when somebody puts their hand up, but people come down there, and you're gonna encourage crossing when the crosswalk isn't appropriately updated to
So
safe.
is your suggestion to remove the crosswalk? Would
No,
that
my
make it better?
suggestion is that, again, holistically, with state's help, these crosswalks need to be updated. And if we're talking about kids, I drive in, New Haven all the time, where people are crossing all the time, you press the button, there's lights, there's signs saying this is a crosswalk. Somebody's gonna get killed if we encourage more people crossing there.
Well, the thing is,
Putting a sidewalk's gonna
That-
encourage more
Chris,
people
would-
when it's not
Trish-
safe enough.
Yeah, with Trish, what you're saying doesn't help economic development. I mean, he's having retail space. It's a multi-use building, as the other ones that already exist there.
But a sidewalk isn't gonna increase economic development. People are just,
there's businesses there. There's a dentist, there's a daycare, and a potential real estate office. I'm not sure who else is there.
There's a
Nobody's
dance-
walking across the street to go to those businesses from the school. I mean, nobody's gonna park at Subway and then walk over to those businesses. They're gonna go to the dentist, and they're gonna leave. They're gonna go to the daycare. They're definitely gonna put their kids in the car, especially because there's a lot of younger ones, and take them home or wherever they're going. And the real estate, I just don't, if there was a way to connect this,
yeah.
I'm all on board.
Okay, let me just,
Yeah.
you made some points. My wife taught at Totoka Valley, and they walked from the school, across Middletown Avenue, Forest Road, to Subway and Dunkin' Donuts. Don't say nobody did it because my wife.
Oh,
didn't
no,
tell
no,
me.
I agree.
And
No,
now-
I'm saying nobody's gonna be walking to these businesses from Stanley T. The dentist office, the daycare, and a real estate. If you wanna tell me that we wanna look at something, a bigger picture down the road that says, we need a sidewalk that comes across all the way down here, then continues down to through the fire department, which there is no there's no sidewalks there, just open. Sidewalks down there to the end of the fire department, and we're getting a little off track here, on that side of the road, and then have a crossing that takes you over to the plazas. I'm all on board.
Yeah, what I'm shooting for is continuity between Northford and North Brantford. If you look at the sidewalks, we have a sidewalk that starts at Commerce Drive with nothing around it, goes under the railroad bridge with nothing around it, and ends up at the cemetery. So, from nowhere to nowhere, but we have the sidewalk there. And to get a piece of a landing at a crosswalk in Northford, we're fighting that?
Well, there's a lot more to it. There's an expense with it, there's a liability with it, and there's an upkeep with it, which then could be turned, and I'm not sure if it's the town that's upkeeping it. If we're looking to do sidewalks, which I think will help, all on
Cost
board.
outweighs the benefit.
But there's a cost associated with it and the upkeep for,
I'm offering this as a compromise, because, if, I'm not looking to encompass the building with sidewalks on both sides, which I think is a wonderful idea. But if you're holding out for sidewalks all the way around, I'm with you on that.
oh, no, I'm not holding on, no, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I think this property, because it borders a residential area, it borders the convenience store or gas station. In this case, it's my opinion, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think that there's any way to connect it in the future. I think it's more important that if somebody's at Stanley T and wants to go, if you're at Stanley T or the senior center, you're not parking there to go to the dentist or to the daycare or to the real estate. You're gonna park there, you may decide to walk past the fire department and then want to cross the road to go into one of those plazas, one of the restaurants, you know, or to Dunkin' or whatever it might be, there would be a sidewalk to take you down there and then across the road, as your wife did when she was a school teacher. That side of the road is more important than here. Yes, I agree, there are residents here, there are some residents here, but the putting the expense and the onus on the owner of this for a resident that may use it or not, I don't see the benefit in the expense that outweighs it.
Okay, so are you implying that the state did not do a study? I mean, they didn't arbitrarily pick that spot out of a hat for a crosswalk?
Who knows when the crosswalk was put in? It could have been arbitrary.
It never came to us, so I don't know.
Because to go down to that horrendous stoplight where the three highways come together and cross there, that is dangerous.
Well, if you have a button that stops red lights all the way around and you can walk through it, that'd be perfect. You press the button, all the lights turn red, nobody's going, you walk across. To be honest with you, I'm not sure how that crosswalk got put in there, because it never came to, I mean, Victor, would the state come to us if they wanted to put a crosswalk? Because that never came in front of us, that I could recall.
The state does this.
So this could be somebody just put that in there. I would think the state, when the state redid Route 80, I think that those plans came to us for review. I don't think we necessarily had to approve them, but we had a review. I don't recall that being there. I mean, I've never, as long as I've been, unless I was absent, I mean, I was out for a number of months, whatever it was.
That's, you know, how it got, it's there, it's
Yeah.
got the official state
Yeah.
pole with the people crossing and the pointing to the crosswalk.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it got there, but whatever the case is. I mean,
But it is there.
Yeah.
Don't we run into the same, you know, I'm gonna use the wrong vocabulary, but doesn't the state own the first X amount of feet of property, so you wanna, again,
Yeah.
you're encroaching the state's territory.
You'd have,
Again, more cost, that doesn't outweigh the
right,
benefit.
we can't put it on the states, we'd have to put it inside the easement, right?
If it's put on the, well, if you're talking about having a handicap ramp at least in the state right-of-way, so the applicant would have to go through the state approval process for that, through an encroachment permit process.
But there's
So
no
the-
handicap ramp on this side.
The state may review it and say
Why would we
that
do
they
that?
don't, that they could review it and say that they don't want the sidewalk there. Or they approve it and go through the.
And is there expense tied to it, to the applicant?
I don't think there's, I'm not sure if there's a fee for that. I don't believe there's a fee for an encroachment permit. There may be.
But even again, handicap ramp, there's no handicap ramp on the other side. So again, it's not a benefit.
I still don't understand. You know, I'm fighting for safety, and you know, you can't see the need for a crosswalk to walk to a school, to walk to a playground, to walk to a senior citizen center. There's very few crosswalks in the center of Northford. One by the library goes into a wall, basically.
Well, it goes into the library door.
No,
But
the
see-
library door is up the hill,
Yeah.
you know. there's
Well,
no-
let's-
I guess what I'm saying, this is the way to cross the street. It's there, and it's the only safe place. And I think a landing would be a safety concern.
I don't think, how does a landing make it safer?
You work in New Haven, why do they have handicap
I didn't ask that
ramps
question.
and
How
stuff?
does a landing make it safer?
You got a safe place to
You don't
stand.
trip over the curb.
Yeah, so
And
if you're gonna
handicap
cross,
access.
There's
people
no safe
see.
place on the other side, there's no ramp. So again, it has to be done more holistically instead of piecemeal. And I would, if there was a sidewalk here, I would encourage anybody to cross here, because I didn't even know there was a crosswalk here, and I've lived in this town for 38 years.
I
So,
just noticed it now.
when you cross down here, it's safe, right? There's a button you press. In New Haven, you have the signs, you have the lights.
There is no crosswalk there. The next
No,
cross.
down by the library. Here, I wouldn't, if a teacher brought my kid across Middletown Avenue, what? I have a problem with that. It's not, this, I wouldn't want to encourage, and this is not a safe, just because there's a crosswalk here doesn't make it safe.
It's
So to
drawing
encourage
it,
people to
that's the
cross.
key. By putting, landing there with cement.
Preventing
You're
somebody from
drawing
tripping doesn't
attention
make
to
it
the
safer.
crosswalk. You know, the crosswalk goes to the schools. And I
But again, on
think-
the other
I
side,
think-
there's no ramp.
I think it's a safety issue. That, you know,
I think it makes
your
it more
position is
unsafe.
that, you know, you're voting against the safety of anyone crossing the highway.
I'm gonna say, I'm
Extreme
not
on
gonna,
that.
I'm not, that statement, we're voting against safety is not accurate.
I think it's unsafe to
It's
encourage
not,
people
it's
to
not,
cross
that's
there.
not accurate. There's reasons for the sidewalk being there, but for somebody voting against it is not voting against safety. Make that clear.
All right,
It's
what's the
it's about putting in sidewalks is something that if, in the plan of development is to put things together, to tie it together. And that's what we would try to do. And looking at this, there's the expense, liability,
Cost benefit.
the cost to both sides, because now we have to do it on the opposite side. I'm just saying we need a better plan. And that's why it's in the plan of conservation, to look at what we can do.
Right. We've been looking and looking and looking.
We
This
did
is an
sidewalks.
opportunity to move.
But it goes,
If not
yeah,
here,
right.
where?
It goes to nowhere though. You can't go, if you do it in the front, it goes to private property and to the gas station, same thing in the back. It goes to, it does, the sidewalk, on the, what do you call it, on this side here, does not even come down all the way to the road. Okay, so it stops partway up. So I just, again, I don't see.
It's a short distance, I mean.
I get to, and I understand it's a short distance, but it's the use. It's not helping, it's not gonna help it's not gonna drive, anybody to these businesses because there's a sidewalk and a landing there. Again, it's a daycare, that people come in and pick their kids up. There's a dentist office, retail, and I'm not, there's also an engineer there.
And a dance studio.
Dance studio, those people are gonna pull in, take their kids, they're not parking up at Stanley T and coming across. So, I mean, that's just my thought. I mean, I don't know people's, habits, but I'm just thinking to have, if it made sense to connect it, I'm all on board. I just don't see the connection. I think the other side of the road, if there was connections there, I would have no problem with that, saying, well, you know what? If we go all the way down with sidewalks on that side, so we can cross over to the fire department, and then if you had to cross back, you go up a little bit towards the school and then cross across the road, that makes a little more sense. But just to add a little patch, it doesn't seem to have been an issue
Just
in the
because
past.
there's a crosswalk there doesn't make it
Right.
safe. Like,
So-
I don't know if anyone's driven down, when you go down, Route, is it Route 1? I don't even know. Like by UNH, when you come down the hill, they have college students on that busy road right before you could veer left to go to like First Avenue in West Haven. They have a right crosswalk, they have huge lights, when you press it, the lights flash, and they have a crosswalk guard. This area is similar to that, how fast people go and how busy people go. It's not, even though there's painted rectangles on the ground, it doesn't make it safe. A landing to prevent somebody from tripping doesn't make crossing there safe. It's still an extremely unsafe place to cross. That's where it needs to be updated, to have the lights, to have the button.
So, we've had a pretty good discussion on that, and I don't know if there's a whole much more we can add at this time. So, what I'm gonna recommend, since we had, everybody feels that the project itself in its entirety makes sense, we don't have any issue with it per se. What my recommendation would be is, let's make a motion on this then we can have discussion on it, and if there's a feeling for an to make a motion to add a special condition, we would vote on that, we vote on that separately. And then if that passed, then we would, if that amendment, or motion passed, then it would be added in here. If not, it would fail and it wouldn't be in. So just want to give, so I think that, I mean, unless somebody has if there's any other reason not to do that.
I think we should take it all as one vote, because.
It's not in here. It's not in the motion. And we would never do that, because the sidewalks are not required. So we would not do that. It has to be amended. So you can add, we can have a discussion. Let's add this in. And you don't have to make a motion to approve. I want to say that. I think we should I'm just recommending it. If we feel comfortable with the project, then the next step would be make a motion. We can then have continue our discussion on the sidewalk part of it, and any other part of it as well.
Yeah, so because the sidewalks aren't in here to begin with, and they're not required, that can't be lumped in as holistically.
We would do it separate and add on to it. Yeah. Because that's what the applicant came in. The applicant does not want to put sidewalks in, so that's where it would fall. But we can add, we can add as a condition, and we can vote on that, so. And Trish, just to let you know, you can say the cover sheet and then 1 through 7. Yeah. Okay.
I've learned that. We got
Right.
the okay from lawyers on that. I
Yeah.
will listen to it. I make a motion to approve planning and zoning application 2021-8, special use permit / site plan request under section 42.5.1, multiple dwellings in a B2 district, to allow for multiple dwellings in a new mixed-use building, ground floor retail / office, and 6 residential apartments on 2nd and 3rd floors at 1355 Middletown Avenue, map 62, lot 10, B2 zone, owner applicant IHH Properties LLC, as described in the submitted application and shown on the following map and drawings. The cover sheet, and then sheet 1 through 7, though there is a 2 and 2A in there. With the following standard conditions: 1C, 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, 13, 15, 17.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a second. All right, now we can have we can continue our discussion, because as I said, that the project itself, it seemed that there was no outstanding questions, comments, or thoughts except regarding the sidewalks. So we can continue that discussion, and if you would like to add a condition, then we would, let me see here. You could just, Victor, what's the last, would it be, special condition 18?
17?
Because there's a 17, adherence to the, so it'd be 18,
Oh,
right?
No, special condition number 1.
No, it would be,
yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay,
Special
yeah, I'm
condition
sorry,
number
yeah,
one.
you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what was I reading here? Following standard condition, okay. Okay, so if you would like to propose a special amendment to the motion, or no, if you want to add, if you would like to add a special condition, that'd be number 1, and then whatever that may be, you can do that. But we can continue on that discussion if you would like, so I'll leave it up to there. I mean, what's that?
If you add a special condition, then the motion's gonna include the special condition.
Yeah,
And if they vote for it, it's yes, if they don't.
No, we're
it's no.
voting on adding the special condition or not.
To the motion. Oh, voting on
Right,
whether
and then we would
adding
amend, then you have to
Oh.
do that, we'd add a special condition, then we would vote on,
the amendment.
if it passed, yeah, we do the amendment first. If that passed, then we would, make a, we would have to do it then, if we did that. No, we'd be fine, we just vote on it with the special condition, yeah. Right, I think it makes sense, I think I got it. You would add that as a special condition,
You can
But
add it
you
as a
can add
special
it,
condition.
but then you're gonna vote
on the whole
The
thing.
entire.
on the whole thing.
Well, we're gonna vote on adding it first.
And when
Then
that
if it
gets approved,
passes,
oh, okay,
then
then
we'll-
I,
yeah, then, yeah,
Right.
and then we would vote on the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You like that?
okay.
Got it? All right.
It's like, speaking of widows.
I'm confused.
Say, Robert's Rules of Order. Therefore, I motion that we add a special, what's the wording?
Condition.
Condition on this application to improve the landing for the crosswalk. A full sidewalk, I think you convinced me that it would be a huge expense for the applicant. And I think a landing for just the crosswalk, maybe the crosswalk to the driveway.
Victor, can you put that back up there? Yeah, I wanted to, I just, let's try to eliminate the word improve and try to put more detail on what,
Okay.
so I just want, because I want to make sure that we get it right.
There's the sidewalk that comes down from the school property, the town property.
Mhm.
And there's a
Crosswalk,
crosswalk right
yeah.
here, you know, with the lines and the town, the state
Yeah.
signal. I think a platform in this area would add to the safety of the crosswalk because of the multi-use property, the building that's gonna be put in, and also the multi-use buildings that already exist.
All right, so let's just say to create a landing. To create a landing adjacent to the crosswalk.
On applicant's side.
Yes,
Yeah,
on the
on,
applicant side, not on the,
And if you want to call it on the, on 1355 Middletown Ave. To create a landing on 1355 Middletown Ave, adjacent to the crosswalk. Okay, so you just, okay, you're landing. All right. So let me just read that motion over again. Ron made a motion to add special condition number 1 to create a landing on 1355 Middletown Ave, adjacent to the crosswalk. Crosswalk. Should we put what that, where the crosswalk is? Crosswalk.
This?
Yeah, to the,
Existing crosswalk?
the existing, to the crosswalk. Of town, it's adjacent to the, from town property. How's that? So I don't wanna say school, or, 'cause it's a number of things.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's kind of interesting.
all right. Is there a second?
You wanna read that again?
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Ron made a motion to create special condition number 1, to create a landing on 1355 Middletown Ave, adjacent to the crosswalk from town property.
Could I just ask a question
Sure.
before there's a second? It might, I'll
Okay.
come back now.
No, yeah, you
Okay,
can.
okay.
Yeah.
No,
No's okay.
No.
All right, so if you do that and there's a need for a state permit, and this, a state encroachment permit to do that work, and the state, through their review, decides that they're not gonna allow the landing, what would be the process for the applicant? Would they have to come back?
Just
And I
modify-
say that, I ask that question only to maybe give you the idea that if you add to your motion, something to the effect of based on.
Upon state approval.
Upon state approval, but I don't, it's only a thought on how that would work out. If you want the applicant to come back and say, the state didn't allow it, what do you want us to do, then that's okay too.
Well, if the state wouldn't allow it, then he could just modify the site plan and come back for reapproval.
Unless you add something to your motion now, so it's
Based on
just,
state
just an
approval.
idea.
With state approval if necessary, and
And-
that would cover it. I
And
think.
that's up to you guys. I'm just kind of giving you the scenario that it's possible they deny it, that the state denied it.
With state approval if necessary.
Right, that way if it's not necessary, the applicant doesn't have to
Right.
come back.
Okay.
Ron, you might want to read it again,
Yeah.
so we don't keep on going back.
State DOT.
State DOT.
Oh, yeah, put state DOT, Ron. I don't think I wrote DOT.
No sidewalk?
I'm just reading what Ron, I wrote down what Ron
Gotcha.
wrote. Yeah, I mean, if he wants to change that, you could definitely change it.
You wanna write it in there? Better put your thoughts on paper.
So, you have a boy and girl, right?
No, 2 girls.
Oh, you play softball?
Softball, basketball, soccer.
Keep them busy.
I'm a sports family.
Yeah.
What is your?
So, I'm not extreme about it.
Let me start saying in my.
You do the swimming too.
I thought so.
The wind's different.
I did that carry every.
We would start we would have
Yeah.
the kids,
Better be
they swim for the YMCA in Wallingford. And they,
Because Kurt Reese's name still comes up.
some of the meets, we had to be there like 7
Mm.
a.m. And then you're done at noon, because the kids were young, so they try to get the younger kids out. But then I had both, because I had
Town
told them
planner.
twins, so I get to 7 o'clock in the morning.
You'd be there till 4.
And then we get to 4.
Right.
And then he started swimming USA Swim, like, so Wallingford offers the wide
Yeah.
meets. And then they, for anybody who wanted to do, like, the USA Swim's like, it's controlled, it's like, as it goes up to
Okay,
the Olympics,
like
you know what I mean?
I
It's
was gonna
like,
say, yeah, it's
whatever,
like-
I don't know, not the Olympics, but it's just, whatever.
It's a track.
Yeah, so, then you're there not only one day, then you're there multiple days, and then if you make the finals, you're there at night. And then if your kid swims distance, like, it's Sunday night at 5, and there's like 4 people left watching
It's a
it.
commitment. I mean, I
It
don't
was
mind
tough.
it. It's
It was great
enjoyable.
sport, I mean, oh my God, the one,
So the new guy, he's
my
not
kids got,
town planner, he's already
there
doing
was
it.
so much
Oh,
enjoyment.
yeah.
It's crazy.
It's an insane, it is,
How
it's
come they
insane.
got
And they would swim in the pool.
Appointment of
and
town
crowds.
planner.
It's nonstop.
Oh, town planner,
And
as in, so
they
it's
made
gonna
it
be
fun
both.
too.
Oh, okay.
You know, I thought about doing different sports, and I'm like, I don't like sports. The ones I played, I'm like,
Like,
Because he's
Amy
already got
tried,
designated
she
stuff.
tried gymnastics.
Yeah, okay.
She did it for like a year.
that's a huge commitment.
Yeah, and then when she was at the Y, her cousin, older than her, swam. You got one?
A reading according to Ron. To create an access from existing driveway at 1355 Middletown Avenue via a sidewalk to the existing crosswalk with appropriate ADA ramps conditional upon state approval.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so let's have, I mean, I don't know if there's any other discussion that we can have. I mean, is there anything else?
No.
All right, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion fails. I'm tied. So what we have left is, you made the initial motion on this?
Yes,
And who
of the
seconded?
whole project.
Right.
Ron seconded.
Right?
No,
No.
Rob,
Rob,
sorry.
okay,
B.
Rob
No,
seconded,
no.
okay, I wanna just get this right here. Trish, Rob. Okay, is there any other items that we need to discuss on this project? Okay. So Trish,
Trish, pass this back to Harry.
Trish, since you made the motion, it was a public hearing, so it's a roll call vote, so state your reasons for that.
Again, it's a solid project that fits with the, what's already going on there and increases the housing, diversifies the housing stock in North Brantford, Northwood.
Rob?
I think we're at an impasse here. I'm gonna have to vote no.
Well, wait, hang on a second. Rob, who seconded it? I thought you said Rob.
Rob
Rob,
seconded.
what are we talking about? I'm sorry.
We're voting on the
The property, 1355?
Yeah, yep.
And I'm in favor of the project.
Okay. You just vote yes.
Yes.
For your reasons for the same as
I
Trish?
think he fits, he
Okay.
incorporated our comments as best he could, and it meets the character and intent of our district.
Ryan?
I'm torn with this one. It's a good project. Now, all for a little safety issue, which bothers me greatly, obviously. Yeah. Well, what the heck. I'm gonna have to vote no, because I feel that the sidewalk in that one landing area is important for the safety of the entire project, the whole condominium, and I know I'm outvoted, so I could honestly vote no with my conscience.
I vote yes for this project. Mixed use it has, that's what we're looking for. Single bedroom, two bedroom, bringing more, another business to the community. I think it's gonna be, it's an asset to to Northford, for, it's not up there, but, making it, adding our comments in, keeping the trees, the actual, the building itself, fitting into the design district and things that we asked you to do. So I vote yes, and that passes 3-1. Thank you. All right, moving on. Oh, you're good. It's approved. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Do you have what Ron read in, so I could put it in the notes?
Did you hand it to me?
Nope, it's not on this one. No, that's a different one. Oh, wait, no, that's that
It's
one.
close.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Okay, so we're on other business, so I'm gonna leave that to our temporary town planner. Discussion regarding updating lighting
Covering
regs?
as town
Take your hat
planner.
The lighting regs?
So other business, we got into a brief discussion last meeting, I believe, about updating the lighting regulations, and I think if I could make a recommendation that the Planning and Zoning Commission work with, instead of working with me as the person covering, that you work with the incoming town planner. He's due to arrive on October 18th, so maybe it's something that you could talk about a little bit more next meeting, but work
Yep.
with the incoming town planner to create a lighting best practice text amendment, and then you could have a public hearing and get some of the public involved. I know we already have an individual with the public
Yep.
that's interested in getting more involved with that process, so, and that could be up to you either
Yep.
during the public, the public hearing process to get them involved, or consider maybe a subcommittee on revising the lighting standards. So you have
Yeah.
those two options to go with.
I think the public hearing would, I mean, because there's a lot of input on that,
Mhm.
so I think it'd be good to hear,
Other people's knowledge and.
yeah. So, okay, and then, so that will be continued to the next meeting, which is the 21st, or we can potentially have that discussion on the 21st. And then the next two?
So obviously acting, or I'm not really in the position where I would say I was acting as the town planner. I was kind of covering the position and clearing all decisions at the administrative level through the town manager. So we're requesting an appointment by the Planning and Zoning Commission of the town manager, Michael Paulus, as the deputy zoning enforcement officer. I don't know if you want me to combo that with the next item to also appoint the town planner, the incoming town planner, Eric Knapp, as interim zoning enforcement officer.
We need to make a motion, we have to approve that? I remember.
Well, it's an appointment,
Yeah.
should they make a motion?
Because you're delegating that
Oh, okay.
authority, that's your purview.
So we'll make a motion, do them both together.
Yep, I make a motion to approve the appointment of the town manager, Mike Paulus, as deputy zoning enforcement officer, and incoming town planner, Eric Knapp, as interim zoning enforcement officer.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? That passes 4-0.
Can I ask a question about like our, order of our agenda? I feel, and Barbara, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't we agree with Carrie that after a public hearing, we can also take action on that, just in light of like, people waiting? Didn't we, Ron? Didn't we decide, yes, that after we have a public hearing, we would take action on that, right? If we're ready to take
Well,
action.
if we're
ready to.
You
No,
can,
no, no.
as long as it's on the agenda, but
Yeah,
it said
so-
possible action.
So,
The only,
I don't
yeah,
care
no,
either
but
way.
Yeah, the only thing you have to.
possible action.
Right.
Yeah,
possible action.
right, that's why it's
That
been
has to
put
be on
under
the
new
agenda.
business. Yeah,
So, yeah, I just was thinking, again, sometimes when we have those, if there's multiple public hearings, take action right after one if possible to clear those people out. Cause it was like this, then we switched it, then we went back to this. Again, I'm indifferent, it doesn't,
Yeah,
I'm here
so-
anyway, but to,
on a night when there's a lot, you have to be careful, cause you have to start the public hearing before you before you adjourn, so you don't want that, so if you have so you have to be careful with that.
I see, okay, I see what
So-
you're saying. If we take too long to discuss
Yeah,
and the other
so I
public
think-
hearings don't start.
I think Carrie
Okay.
did, is when it made sense, she would put it you would have
I
the
gotcha.
hearing and then vote on it. But where it may be, when there might be more discussion, you might wanna have, you close the public hearing,
Go
and
to the
then
next one and
you wanna go to the next one.
To be thinking
I think
of
she
time.
did that kind of she just kind of,
That was only sometimes.
yeah.
Okay,
I-
all right.
That's what I thought it was, I don't 100% recall.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
And you point out
yeah.
otherwise, could
Yeah.
be midnight, so you're.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So-
okay, all right, so then I was a little
All right,
confused.
what else we have?
I guess the town planner's report is just to remind you again that we've already talked about. The next meeting is October 21st, 2021. And,
Anybody- I won't be here, I'll be away,
I should,
just let you know.
I mean, as of now.
I'm going down south.
try to make it a little bit longer
I'll make
agenda
it as
than
long
what
as you
we
want.
have here.
Midnight, 1 o'clock, that's good
Yeah.
with me.
Although we did pretty good, I guess.
8:30 is not too bad.
So,
Go
somebody
ahead,
like to,
Ron.
somebody like to make a motion?
Hang on, I'm adding my meeting.
Huh?
Yeah. We don't take public comment, but we will, if you have a question, we can maybe answer it after the meeting.
Can I just bring something to the commissions, just bring it up to the commissions and concerns that I
We,
have?
yeah, we can't take, we can,
I want you to
after,
vote on it.
no, after we close the meeting, then we can find out what it is and then see how
So,
we should proceed.
so should it be something that is maybe routed through the, I don't know if that counts
That's
as,
what I was gonna ask. what
that
it
counts
is.
as a meeting, and so
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably
we don't
routed
want a
through the,
meeting after the meeting.
No, not a meeting, I was gonna guide him to either, if he's thinking about submitting an application for something, then we go to the town planner. If he's
Yeah.
looking at something else, maybe I can guide him in the right direction, but not, I'm just gonna help
The
him guide him.
best thing probably would be to go through staff, send an email.
So I'm not trying to bring something up to board, I'm just bringing up a safety concern on something that
Town
planning
planner.
and zoning approved without your approval, and a building that's without an AG survey, and a couple.
I would,
That's zoning
then, yeah, so
enforcement.
I would send that to, town planner.
I did, he left, he was here.
No, that's town manager, town
Oh, sorry,
planner.
manager.
Acting town planner,
Planner, okay. Different.
yeah.
And is that zoning enforcement officer as well?
we're,
He's right here, send it.
Okay.
That
Let's close the meeting.
I motion we adjourn.
Is there a second? All in favor?
wait, so who?
I might always beat you on that, Rob. Second you.
Ron.
You know that.